Alright, so in the previous video what we've seen is that basically changing magnetic flux can give rise to EMF. The question was this, basically before that was, if current can give us magnetic field, can the reverse happen? That can magnetic field give us current? And the answer to that from the coil and bar magnet experiment was pretty clear, that yes, it can give rise to EMF, the changing magnetic flux, right? And then towards the end of the video we concluded that it's not just a changing flux, it's also the time rate at which the flux is changing, right? And then we obviously have Faraday's law, which sums up all the things and gives it in a simple statement that the induced EMF is directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic flux. So this, if the change is small, then you can use this expression, or you can always use that if the change in flux is large enough, right? Usually time will not be large, it will be in few seconds at the most. Okay, anyway, but then that brings us to next natural question. What's the next natural question? Next natural question is, okay, you're saying the changing flux will give EMF, all right, but then the question is you must have noticed, everyone knows this, that whenever you say EMF, let's say this is one common source of EMF, right? This right here, this has something called positive and negative terminal, and it's obviously going to make a difference if you connected a battery or source of EMF like this or like that, right? It's going to definitely make a difference, right? So the point is, the direction of EMF or the direction of current is going to be important. So direction of current is going to be important. So the next obvious question is, if you say that EMF is produced, the only natural question is, what is the direction, right? So let's try to answer that question here. What is the direction? What is the direction of induced EMF? Of induced EMF. That's the question we'll be answering mostly in this video. And very interesting conclusions will be coming across in this, and hats off to the guy who came up with this law, which in fact is going to answer this question right here in the red color. Okay, and before we name that law, let's try to see what happens if we, let's put ourselves in okay, let me tell it off. It's Lenz. Okay, I'll write the name, Lenz, who gave us this law called Lenz's law. And this Lenz's law basically predicts the direction of current or predicts the direction of EMF. Okay, but let's put ourselves in his shoes and see how actually he thought. So this is basically me trying to explain you how he thought and eventually came up with the law. Okay, so let's put ourselves in his shoes, and let's say you already know that if you have a coil facing a bar magnet which is moving, you'll have induced EMF. We already know that, right? So yeah, so let's say we have a bar magnet, and this is the north pole of the bar magnet, and the other end of course is the south pole of the bar magnet. And let's say for now we are moving in this direction. And the things you should be knowing before understanding this law is this. I'll write that somewhere here. Things you should be knowing before this is, notice, you need to know the direction of magnetic field produced by a current carrying coil. So earlier we have seen, in the previous video we have seen, if the current wire is straight, then magnetic field lines produced are like circular like this. But here it's a reverse case. The wire itself, this reddish wire that you're seeing here right now, that itself carries a current. So you have a circular current coil, and such a circular current coil gives the magnetic field along its axis like this, okay, in this direction as it is shown here. And how do you predict that? Basically look at this diagram here with the I've tried to draw this with the, if this is the ring and the arrows show the direction of current, then hold the ring in this manner basically. So with your fingers in the direction of current, your all the four fingers in the direction of current, and then bring the thumb out. This basically is the thumb. Thumb gives the direction of magnetic field. So magnetic field basically in this case is like that. And same analogy I've used here. And then this white arrow right here is the direction of magnetic field. Basically magnetic field due to a circular ring will be along its axis given by the right hand rule. Okay. And if the current was in, let's say, reverse direction like that, if the current was like that, then magnetic field would be in this direction. Okay, yeah, we need to know that, to understand the direction of induced EMF. Okay, let's see. So now that that is clear, let's see what Lenz was thinking. Okay, so what happened was, let's say we try to move the bar magnet closer. Then the bar magnet has its own field lines like this, right? They start at north pole, go to south pole outside the bar magnet, and inside the bar magnet they are from south to north. Not important, but what is important for me here are these field lines that at least since my north pole is facing the coil, these field lines are important to me. So what will happen is, as you move closer and closer with a greater speed, of course, right, with some speed v, okay, if as you move closer, even though the area of the coil is not changing, look at this area of the coil is still whatever pi r squared. Let's say we've taken circular coil, is still pi r squared. But what is happening is as this is moving closer and closer, the flux is increasing. This is the increasing flux, because if you notice, flux phi is B into delta S into cos theta. You can change the flux by changing any of these quantities. Delta S is the area. Is in this case the area changing? No. In this case, is the angle changing? I don't think so. But in this case, as we are moving with the north pole facing closer to the bar magnet, I think the magnetic field is increasing. Because the closer you move, magnetic field will definitely be more, and while moving itself it will still produce EMF, but notice this, that flux is increasing. Okay, remember that point, right? So as you move closer, flux is increasing. Point number one. Okay, number one. Number two, let's say the current produced is in this direction. Let's just we don't know yet, right? So let's just say for now that the current produced is like this. Matlab, it's basically coming out over here. I'm sorry. Basically the current is like coming out over here direction. So over here the current is going in. Here the current is going in, and over here the current is coming out. This is just a current, okay, right? Let's say that's the direction of current. We don't know if it is correct, this is correct current or not, but let's say that was the direction of current. Okay, if that was the case, then maybe let me try to find out, forget this magnetic field for now, for a minute, forget this magnetic field produced by the bar magnet. Let's talk about the magnetic field produced by this current wire itself. Okay, if the current is like this, if I do the right hand rule, if I with the right hand, if I hold this wire with my fingers pointing in the direction of current, then I'm thinking that magnetic field produced by such a current would be actually in this direction. It would actually be in this direction. The magnetic field produced by current would actually be in this direction. Okay, fine. So what is happening here is something like this, that the magnetic field due to bar magnet, look at the arrows, is also more or less like in this direction, and the magnetic field produced by the coil also is more or less, not more or less, exactly in this direction. So both the magnetic field lines are in the same direction. Wait, you know what would happen in such a case? If that happens, that magnetic field produced by the coil and the magnetic field of the bar magnet, if they align, if the magnetic field lines happen to be in the same direction, then there will be attraction of sorts. That is, it is you so far who is moving the bar magnet. You brought it from far away, you are bringing it closer with certain velocity, right? And as it comes close enough, if this was the case, I don't know if this is the case or not, but let's say this is the case, and if this happens to be the case where the current is like this and magnetic field therefore produced by the coil in which you just have induced the current is in this direction, then what will happen is there will be attraction between the coil and the bar magnet, and thanks to that attraction is basically some sort of force, right? So due to that force, the bar magnet will now start accelerating in this direction, right? You don't really have to work on it any further. It's you who have been moving the bar magnet so far, right? So if this happens, you can maybe bring it from far away, move it fast enough, bring it close enough with some speed, and if this happens, if the current happens to be in this direction, then rest of the job will be done by the coil, and coil will in fact start moving the bar magnet on its own. Now wait a minute, can that happen? You tell me this, can that happen? That can't happen, because that will be violation of law of conservation of energy. It's like you brought it from far away, you release it here, and the bar magnet is going to go on its own in this direction. Now if that was the case, then I think what I'll do is I'll place a bunch of rings followed by this ring. I'll place a bunch of rings here, ring here, ring here, ring here. Maybe in fact I'll create some sort of circular loop of rings alone and release the bar magnet, maybe throw bar magnet inside and close the loop, right? And then the bar magnet will keep on going inside the loop forever. It will go in circular paths forever. If that could happen, then all our energy problems would be solved, right? But that doesn't happen. It's like you're just giving it a gentle push, and then that bar magnet keeps on revolving with accelerated speeds. Actually, the speeds only get faster because of the attraction. That doesn't happen. You can't gain energy at the cost of without paying the price, right? So that is violation of conservation of energy. So the reverse must be true, right? So in fact the current's direction is not this, but the direction of current is like this. So I'm thinking, wait, if this is not correct, then the magnetic field produced, focus on the magnetic field, produced this magnetic field right here, the magnetic field produced by the coil in which this bar magnet has induced the current should be such that it is opposing the changing flux. Here the flux was eventually increasing, right? The flux was increasing. So if this also produces field in this direction, overall the flux, this increasing flux plus this flux as a whole, there will be a lot of flux, right? It's like this induced field also is supporting the same flux, so it's going to add to that flux. That should not happen. I think you've understood that by violation of law of conservation of energy. So the induced field should be such that it should oppose the changing magnetic flux. That is very important statement right there. I'll be writing it soon, right? And by that you can in fact decide the direction of current. Let's see that here. I'll do that in detail. Just hold on. So basically the direction predicted by me was wrong, and the correct direction is going to be this. Is going to be if you have a bar magnet, with its north pole facing and approaching the coil, then the flux produced by the, or the field produced by the coil should be such that it opposes the changing flux. For example, you already have the flux in this direction. You already, the bar magnet is doing enough to produce flux like this. I mean, the field lines like this, which is eventually the field lines are going to cross through this coil and give you flux, right? So the field produced by the bar magnet should be such that this should be the field produced by the bar magnet. I'm sorry, the coil should be such that it opposes that changing flux, and this can happen only in one case, that the current is in this direction. Current is in this direction, so something like this. Current should be like this, you know, something like this. Okay, so that's not current, that is just to show you, indicate the direction of current. All right, so current must be in this direction, so that if the current is in this direction, that is if the current is coming out here and is going in here, if that happens, I think I made a mistake here. This actually, with this current, it's actually over here, it's going in, and over here the current is actually coming out. Anyway, everything else was correct, but actually this should happen. If this doesn't happen, or if the reverse happens, then it's violation of law of conservation of energy. Anyway, so the current produced should be, and that's a very important statement we'll be writing today, right? So according to Lenz's law, please listen, the induced current or EMF should be in such a direction, that it opposes the changing magnetic flux. The changing magnetic flux which produced the current, or EMF. Okay, now so now it's actually little interesting, this, notice carefully. The induced current, okay, the current which is induced due to changing magnetic flux should be in such a direction that it opposes, notice this word, it opposes the changing magnetic flux which in fact produce the current. You know, if you read this statement clearly, you'll see betrayal in this statement, right? How is that, you ask, right? Listen, the induced current, the current which is induced, should be in such a direction that it opposes the changing magnetic flux which created the current. So this current which is produced in the coil is opposing that physical quantity which in fact created the current. So current was created by changing magnetic flux, and now what is the current doing? The current is trying to oppose such a change, right? Very beautiful statement is given by Lenz's law. Okay, so this basically right here is Lenz's law. So induced current should be such that it's in a direction that opposes the very change which created the current in the first place. That's Lenz's law for you. And due to this Lenz's law, you know, the adjusted Faraday's law is going to look something like this. The adjusted Faraday's law, or equation for Faraday's law, is now going to look like this. Please pay attention here. Faraday's law is now going to look like this. That induced EMF, which is d phi b by dt, fine, it's correct, is equal to d phi by dt, but EMF is in the direction, this negative sign, okay, is in the direction opposite to the changing flux. So EMF induced is always such that it opposes any sort of change. In fact, the example I took here was a case where the flux was increasing, okay, but you know what sometimes might happen is maybe the bar magnet is moving away. What would then happen if okay, in this case north pole was facing and the bar magnet was going closer, right? And therefore this was wrong, and turns out that the current should be in produced like this, okay, if the bar magnet is moving closer. What if the bar magnet was in fact say moving away? What if the bar magnet was moving away? In that case flux will be decreasing. And then if the flux is decreasing, and decreasing also is some kind of change, right? If the flux is decreasing, then current induced in the coil will be such that it opposes that also. It's like if the flux is increasing, the current will try to reduce it. If the flux is decreasing, the produced current will try to increase that. So if that was the case, I'll just quickly show you that. If the case was this, that you have a coil and you have a bar magnet with north pole facing the bar magnet, south pole is facing like this the bar magnet is, and if it is moving away, if this was the velocity in which you are moving the bar magnet, right? In this case, what is happening? I know that there are, I get it, that there is definitely magnetic field lines. There are magnetic field lines, of course, but as the bar magnet is moving away from it, the flux is actually decreasing, right? Then what does the coil do? Then the coil produces a field such that it tries to retain that flux. It succeeds or not, that's a different story, but the flux produced, the magnetic field induced in the coil should be like this, or in other words, the current will be like this. Now the current will be like this in reverse direction compared to previous case. It will be going in here and coming out here, right? So that the, oh wait, these arrows are wrong. Actually the arrow should be like this, and over here should be like this, okay? So you get it, right? That at the, to sum it up, it's simply this, that the induced current is such that it does not like any changing flux. So if the flux is increasing, it will try to decrease that, and if the flux is decreasing, it will try to increase that, and as a result you have your Lenz's law. And in fact Lenz's law is based on law of conservation of energy, right? It's the conclusion we make in Lenz's law is basically originated with law of conservation of energy. You can either take a screenshot, or also if you take a screenshot, it will not be clear enough. Maybe I'll share the HD image of this. I'll save this and then share the HD image. But yeah, I hope the Lenz's law is clear now. Okay, it was a genius, the Lenz's law. And with the Lenz's law, in fact, we got the modified Faraday's law, and which looks like E is equal to minus d phi b by dt. Yeah, that's Lenz's law for you. More on Lenz's law maybe in next video. Okay. Thank you.